Okay, uh, we have a force vector that has a magnitude of 575 newtons. That's probably going to be F, and points at a angle of 36 degrees below the positive x-axis. That is our angle. What are the x scalar component and the b and the y scalar component of the vector? So draw the picture. We're dealing with vectors, so an xy coordinate will be helpful. Looking like this. Up and right is going to be our positive directions. So those would be our appropriate angles, right? So our force F is 575 newtons and it goes 36 below the positive. Below meaning this way, right? It's not that way, it's going down. That is our F. And we are asked to find the X and Y components of this F force. So, and this is going to be our angle. F, I'm going to write step 2 right here of our knowns and unknowns. We know that F is 575 newtons. We know our angle is 36 degrees. Now, I know it's technically it would be negative 36 degrees, but we are looking at this triangle. No, we're looking at this line and making a triangle when we divide this into its x and y component, right? So it's y, or let's start with x. The x component is going to be from right here to here. That's going to be our fx. That is what A is looking for. And our y component would be from right here to here, fy. But I want to be careful about the direction. This is an arrow going downwards. Up is positive, y is up. So this is going to be negative fy. And that is the answer for B. So we want to find fx and fy, negative fy. So how do we do that? This is just going to use basic trig. So I'm going to rewrite a right triangle so it's kind of easier to visualize. So let's start with fx. Um, I want to find fx. How do I do that? We know the angle and we know the hypotenuse and we want to find fx. Uh, if I were to, so in this triangle, it'd be the hypotenuse, and would this be the adjacent? So starting from here, it make a C, right? Like go like that. So that tells me that I'm going to be using cosine. So I'm going to say, well, I can say that cosine theta equals F under Fx. If that way of thinking doesn't work for you, do what works for you. This is just my way. You just have to be careful that the first letter is going to be on the denominator. Usually we all think of fractions from like numerator then denominator, but when you think of trigs the way I do, and you kind of have to think of it from denominator and up. So be careful about that. Okay, we're looking for fx. To isolate that, we're going to multiply both sides by f. So we get f cosine theta equals fx. I'm going to flip that so it's fx, f cosine theta. Now we just put in our numbers. F was 575, cosine, our angle was 36 degrees. Put that in your calculator and make sure it's in degrees, not radians. And our answer should be 465 newtons. That is our answer for part A. Now let's look for Fy. Same thing. We have the hypotenuse and now the opposite. If I were to visualize it over here, it'd be this side and this side. Can you see how that makes like a similar to cursive S? So that tells me I'm going to be using sine. So I can say that sine theta equals F under Fy, negative Fy, right? Okay, I'm just gonna try and solve for Fy. I'm gonna multiply both sides by F first, so we get F sine theta equals negative Fy. I'm going to flip the signs because I don't like that right there. I'm going to get rid of that. So we get F equals negative F sine. Did I just say F? Ooh, sorry, I forgot to write the Fy. Fy. Now I'm going to flip it, so it's Fy equals F sine theta. And now we just put in our numbers. 575 sine 36 degrees. Put that in your calculator. It should be negative 338 newtons. That is part B.